Now stop panicking, all of you. You're thinking of this place all wrong, as if I had the money back in a safe. Your money's not in Silicon Valley Bank. It's in Daniel Johnson's Polycule scheduling startup. It's in Web3 innovations. It's in rideshare startups empowering women and people of color. It's in transgender studies for children. It's in weapons manufacturing for Ukraine. It's in Rahul Ligma's Bob and Vagine simulator. Don't you people see?
Is it possible that at least part of the reason Silicon Valley Bank failed is because its head of risk management was hired for her wokeness and not actual quantitative skill set? Just take a look at this bio. Jay Erspa, head of financial risk management and model risk Silicon Bank UK Limited. She says, the phrase, "you can't be what you can't see," resonates with me. As a queer person of color and a first-generation immigrant from a working-class background, there were not many role models for me to see growing up. I feel privileged to co-chair the LGBTQ and ERG and help spread awareness of lived queer experiences, partner with charitable organizations, and above all, above your accounts, above your deposits, above the cash that you're looking for at this moment, create a sense of community for our LGBTQ plus employees and allies. In 2021, we, SVB, launched our first 6 employee resource groups. More than 1,150 SVB employees in the UK and other international regions participate in at least one ERG. Our ERGs raise the visibility of multiple dimensions of diversity in our global workforce and offer formal and informal development opportunities. How about no bailouts? Let the Marxists continue to learn, get woke, go broke until they're all bankrupt. The problem is there are a lot of innocent people who are going to be swept up in this, and their deposits probably won't be covered. Silicon Valley Bank has been operating for 40 years. But 3 years ago, they hired their first Chief Diversity, Inclusion, and Equity Officer. Now they're defunct. So get woke, go broke is not just a cliche. SVB is a living, breathing poster child of it. Here's an SVB commercial just to give you an idea of what their management tier was actually focused on. And I'll give you a hint. They weren't focusing on remaining liquid enough to take care of their customers, but they were focused on this.
I think what really sets us apart when we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion at SVB is our culture and our united desire to lead with empathy, to listen without judgment, and to really try and put ourselves in the shoes of others. The result of that is a place to work where you don't feel like you have to self-edit when you come to work or when you join a Zoom call, but one where you can bring as much as yourself to work as you really want to.
Speaking from my personal experiences of joining SVB, I think it's the people and the culture that there is here. Everyone's been really friendly, approachable, about being open, and it's made it really easy to be comfortable being my true self here.
So we proactively make it our mission at SVB to ensure that our clients, employees, and partners feel listened to and that their voices matter. So from funding underrepresented entrepreneurs to having multiple employee resource groups, I could not be prouder of working for a company like SVB.
It is all in what we do throughout the year, the space that we hold throughout the year for all of these groups, for everyone that feels that they have a space in one of these ERGs, and talking about it all the time, not just for Pride Month, not just for, any other kind of day related. It's about how we support each other all the time. And I think we do that well.
We've been having some incredibly enlightening and powerful discussions around DEI topics where individuals have shared some really personal stories. I think that says a lot about the courage of those individuals and the types of people that work here. But I think it also says a lot about SVB. Firstly, that platform even exists, but also the fact that those individuals feel comfortable opening up and being vulnerable, and they are getting met with support and respect and love, quite frankly. And I think that is incredibly special.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's good to know that every customer of SVB will be included in the equally painful train wreck they just got themselves into. The level of mismanagement and incompetence at SVB is absolutely staggering. Imagine prioritizing woke initiatives over actually managing risk as your company's core assets bleed out over 2022. But the White House wants you to continue to have faith in the banking regulators, the same regulators who let this whole thing happen in the first place.
Our Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary Yellen, is closely tracking the developments with the Silicon Valley Bank. What I will emphasize as well is that our banking system is in a fundamentally different place than it was, a decade ago, and that the reforms that were put into place back then really provide the kind of resilience that we'd like to see. So we have every faith in our regulators, the bank regulators, those who provide the guardrails and are safeguarding are closely watching and are prepared to use the tools that they need. The FDIC stepped in very quickly here. And that's what they were doing, was protecting the deposits of those up to $250,000, and then they have a way to unwind the rest. Our banking system is fundamentally different because of the changes that we put in place in 2008. For example, they have to hold more capital. They undergo stress tests. So we know that we had to build more resilience into our banking system, which allows it to withstand these kinds of shocks. So I do have faith that we have the tools for this sector and for our regulators to be able to absorb. But this is what we know today, but we do know that our banking system is in a fundamentally different place.
Janet Yellen says no bailout for SVB, but does have concerns about contagion to other banks. She says, we're not going to do that bailout again. Let me just say that we want to make sure that the troubles that exist at one bank don't create contagion in others.
Let me be clear that during the financial crisis, there were investors and owners of systemic large banks that were bailed out, and we're certainly not looking, and the reforms that have been put in place means that we're not going to do that again, but we are concerned about depositors and are focused on trying to meet their needs.
Can you say whether these problems were unique to Silicon Valley Bank, or can you say whether there will be other regional bank failures?
Well, look, let me just say that we want to make sure that the troubles that exist at one bank don't create contagion to others that are sound, and a goal always of supervision and regulation is to make sure that contagion can't occur.
And as I was doing this video, it looks like they also closed Signature Bank in New York down. Looks like it's shaping up to be a great week. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com, and I will see you in the next video.